Welcome to Impact Wrestling, days after Slammiversary, which was a good show, but it could have been better. Guys, if you loved Slammiversary, great. I'm glad you did. But for me personally, I had to look at it objectively, and what I saw was it was a good show, a good pay-per-view, but easily could have been better. Easily they could have done something more than just be nostalgic. It doesn't mean it was a bad nostalgia, but it just shows you that Impact has a major issue. They have not moved forward. They have not given us more than what we got. And this show right here, this Impact after Slammiversary, is a prime example that Impact has not really thought thoroughly what they're going to do next. They're trying, but it doesn't mean they're doing it correctly. Now, what do we get as an opener? Mia Yim versus Chelsea Green with Deonna Purrazzo on commentary, which was fine. Deonna looked gorgeous in her dress. And here was the thing. What is Deonna Purrazzo doing? I don't know. What is Chelsea Green doing? Since her husband now has a torn bicep, any plans they had for both of them has gone out the window. So what is she doing? Nothing. So they stuck them together. Supposedly now they're friends. Does this mean they're going to be a tag team? I hope so, because they got nothing for Rosemary and Taya to do. So when you see this match between her and Mia Yim, and that is Chelsea Green, it was a fine match, but it really doesn't tell you where are they going. At least until, and as I said before, when Slammiversary was coming around, when the Queen of the Mountain match was going to happen. What did I say? What did I say? There had to be a Jeff Jarrett surrogate in the women's category. And who do we get? We get Mickie James. Mickie James is a surrogate for Jeff Jarrett. Whether he's a heel or a face, when the King of the Mountain match came around, he was always in some form or fashion involved in it that will lead to that match, or it will lead to doing feuds after the match. That is how it was with Jeff. And what do we get here? At one point, Deonna Purrazzo was getting pissed off that Chelsea was losing that match, and she tried to interfere and mess up Mia Yim, which she did. And who ran out in some heels that were probably higher than this? Look at what my hands on. She was like this high in those damn heels. Mickie James comes out, attacks a Deonna Purrazzo, which subsequently distracts a Chelsea Green, which subsequently that she lost the match and Mia Yim won. So what does that mean? We're going to have Mia Yim and Mickie James dealing with a Chelsea Green and a Deonna Purrazzo. The question is going to be, for me, does this actually translate to a match that will eventually lead to a title match for the Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie tag team titles? Because as it stands right now, what are we going to get from Rosemary and Taya? Not much, due to the fact that they have no women's division. Now, I know it's knockouts, but I'm going to say women's because they don't bring in new talent, or better yet, they don't bring in independents to job for them. They don't bring them in to do some quick tapings to have maybe 2 new tag teams, even if you don't see them again, at least fresh meat for these tag title divisions to work in, and there is nothing. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that the creative team will learn from the lessons going into Slammiversary that they need to bring in more independent talent to do more tapings for them. Doesn't mean I have to hire them, and I know I'm going to get subscribers saying they need to hire more women. They need to hire more men. Guess what? They won't. Look at what's going on. One person told me that PCO is only signed until October. So that means they're doing either a year's contract or a 6-month contract. How can you have a division if there's only 6 months or a year of content built by these people that in many cases they don't even use them until almost near the end of their contract? So what do you think? They're going to have to bring in talent, pay them for tapings. Just bring them in, let them job, and that's it. Let's move on. Now, Gunther and Shark Boy, Mr. Chummy, Mr. Man, Shell, yeah, with that big belly of his, working Ziggy Dice and the Johnny Swinger. I did not see the reverse battle royal. I forgot to check it. That is my fault. I'm sorry. I take full accountability of that. But admittedly, I have not been myself, so I forgot. I'm sorry, guys. So I did not see the reverse battle royal. I'm going to have to remember if they have it on Impact's YouTube channel. I'm going to see if I can watch it, because I've not seen it. But what did we just get? We got a legitimate blue chipper in Gunther dealing with a Shark Boy, a Dizzy Dice, and a Johnny Swinger. No more, at least at this moment, we're not seeing Shera and we're not seeing Raj. Sorry, my mistake. So does this mean that they're going to be doing something with Gunther? Gunja, not Gunther. Gunja. I don't know. If they stick him with Shark Boy and they keep doing these type of things where they have Shark Boy working with him, maybe that'll be another tag team for the Good Brothers to eat. Or anyone else for that matter. They have no tag teams barely at all. Most of the tag teams are dealing with Honor No More, so they got to do something. I'm just saying. Now, before we get any further, there's something I got to say about the production value. You would think at this moment in time, Impact Wrestling would say, okay, it is now time. Let me move this in a little bit. It is now time. We need to redo our intro. We need to redo our ring. We need to redo how we show the people. We need to redo our audio. I know we don't make a lot of money, but let's change it up a little bit. We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary. We need to do something different. What did we get for the intro? What we had before the build-up going into Slammiversary. The same old music. What did we have for the lighting? Not much different. Camera work pretty much hasn't changed that much. They are still doing this, and they're missing the timing of it. That might be one of the reasons why we'll not show any... I'm not going to show any images in here, because when you see what they did exactly that. They switch cameras better now, but in most cases, they're doing too many close-ups, which is ruining it for anyone at home who wants to see what's going on, next to them always showing someone's damn back. Zoomed in. That ain't a joke. I'm not lying. Go watch Impact Wrestling for what happened with most of the match with Mia Yim and Chelsea Green. You saw either a little bit of ass, which most men and women like, but a lot of backs and a lot of back of their heads due to the fact that they timed the zoom-ins wrong. I'm being honest. Either they bring their faces in so close you miss it, or they miss the timings and they zoom in on a body part. That is not how you should be doing it. Don't copy the WWE Impact Wrestling. I've been saying it for almost 2 years now. Do this. If you are worried that you want more excitement, make a much more wider angle on your cameras. It may show how few people you have, but at least the people at home will get a good gauge of what's going on in the ring. Doing this is wrong because when you do it, people will not see all the action in the ring. And like what you're doing now, where you want to make it exciting and impactful, you're bringing in at the wrong time and you get that. So, if you can't time it right, why don't you just keep a wide angle lens and take the hit on people seeing how few people you got that go to your shows? It's better that way, and you won't piss everybody off like myself. I'm just saying. Now, let's get to the part of Violence by Design attacking after the match I just talked about. And basically, Deaner calls out Josh Alexander. And I know that people are not going to be happy about seeing him and they can't stand his ass. Well, guess what? I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about him. Just eat. Eat it. Look, we don't see a Eric Young. He's not there. He's not showing. It is now Cody Deaner who's talking for him and Joe Dorling. He calls in a Josh who is wanting to go to the ring. And he's telling him how dangerous Joe Dorling is. Oh, here's the problem. It's not because Josh has no personality. It's not that Josh has only a singlet that has been done since the 1990s. And it's not that he's just a piece of junk or garbage like most people who make comments on my videos. This is about creative. You can make anyone look good. Mind you, not everyone can work very well when you really push them right. But in this situation, I don't blame Diener. I don't blame Joe Dorling, and I don't blame Josh Alexander. I blame creative. You know why? I have never even cared about Joe Dorling due to the fact that yes, he's undefeated, but have we even cared about him? Have they even pushed him or made him feel important? Got one word for you. No. So do I actually believe Joe Dorling can beat Josh Alexander? No. And that's the problem. Particularly that next week on Friday is Against All Odds. I gotta see if I can remember to see that show. I'm hoping I won't forget or have any issues. But Against All Odds, I'm botching here because I am like, you do this segment, then Diener and Dorling beat up on Josh. Josh pushes back, and then the match was supposed to be later in the night now happens now, and Joe is watching in the back. He's not at ringside. You get Diener getting his ass whooped. Cody Diener gets his ass whooped, ladies and gentlemen. Did he look good while doing it? Somewhat. But this is not the point if you think Josh is being overpushed or Diener's being underpushed. It's the point that why would I believe that Joe Dorling, who now they're doing something with, where in most cases his faction has been losing hand over fist, and yes, they've won a bit when he's involved, and the majority of the time they've been losing when he's not involved, why would I believe Joe Dorling is going to beat Josh Alexander and win that damn title? As I said before, it would have been better if Eric Young had won the damn title, because now you're throwing people at Josh Alexander who has not been booked. We got 1 week. This is the only time we hear about Diener and hear about Joe, and instead of building this up, giving it a couple of weeks, or maybe a month for that matter, to make it feel like it was important, they just rush it out for an Impact Plus show. Why am I going to believe it? Why would you believe it? Tell me why you believe that Joe Dorling is going to whoop the ass of Josh Alexander. And I'm hoping that you're not going to say, I know he's going to whoop him because he's trash. No, you know he ain't going to lose. And you having so much hate for Josh Alexander makes you so biased that as a real wrestling fan, you don't even want to hear the truth. The truth is, creative caused this trouble. No matter if you like Joe Dorling, Cody Diener, Josh Alexander, or Eric Young for that matter. If all four of them are actual trash, all of them, Joe, Cody, Josh, and the Eric Young, if all of them are trash, then why do they not book them correctly to make them not feel like trash? We're talking about creative here. They need to book them correctly, but if they're rushing things to the point where there's no booking, why would you care? Let's move on. Sami Callihan versus a jobber who is the gut check winner, who I didn't even realize they were doing gut check. Now the guy's name is Jack Price. Price. I think it's Price. He won gut check. And here's the thing. He looks good. At least as brief as possible before he got his ass destroyed by a Sami Callihan. But since, and I repeat this again, since they never advertised it on Impact, maybe they're doing it on Impact Plus, but they're not doing it on Impact, why am I going to care about Jake Price, who just got his ass handed to him? Welcome to Impact Wrestling, Jake. He's got a contract now, either a year or 6 months. Do I know this guy? Did I see him build up through gut check? Nope. I didn't see it. Now, mind you, I don't watch Impact's YouTube channel, so I didn't check to see if they were showing anything. That is my fault. But Impact really hasn't said anything about gut check. Now, has they? You see I'm watching. They haven't said anything about gut check. They haven't said anything about, well, ladies and gentlemen, or at Slammiversary, why didn't they say, ladies and gentlemen, at Slammiversary, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new member of the roster, Jake Price, the current winner of the 2022 Gut Check. Where is he? I don't know. I might have missed it. Maybe I missed something when I was watching Slammiversary. Wait a minute. I did not. Unless they did show it on the kickoff show, which they never repeated anything on the kickoff show very briefly. How would I know about this guy? Now, Sammy gets destroyed by Moose afterward. Moose wanted to destroy him. He whooped his ass and put him from a table. Poof. You know why I'm botching here? It's simple. This should have ended with a stipulation. That's what this should have ended with. Now, supposedly, once Sammy went to the back and spoke to Gail Kim, he wants a clockwork match. I believe that's the name of it. That it was Raven who came up with a specialized match. A match that he believed that was great. And it's been a decade since anybody's seen it. But even with that match, will this end? They need a stipulation. Something that's going to make you feel like, well, this is going to end it with Moose. Or this is going to end it with Sami Callihan. So this is making me angry. They need to move Sammy up. Or they need to move Moose up. They need to make this end now. Because Josh has no major competition other than Joe Doiling, who they've not built up at all. The only ones that got any build is Moose and Sami Callihan because of the story that he got with Moose nearly a year ago when he got his ankle broken. And that's only other person next to that supposedly has a story would be Eddie Edwards. But guess what? They ruined that story with Richards at... Guys, I said at Slammiversary that Davey Richards should have had about a month's build going into it, and you could add something special. You could add a full circle moment with Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. You could have had a one-off match from a guy from MLW, and they could have promoted MLW and made it mean something. Nope. It was a fine match, but then it didn't really mean much. Let's move on. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Right now, the Influence is not able to wrestle right now due to the fact that I knew when you saw Madison Rayne grabbing her nose, I think she might have got it broken, and she was wearing something on her nose, so that's a good possibility that she might have actually broken her nose off of the head of... Could she really have broken her nose off the back of the head of Tennille Dashwood? If that happened, oh man, that sucks. But here's where it gets interesting. Before their interview, you got Gazelle Shaw talking with Alicia. Alicia's not happy that she got destroyed by Marsha Slamovich. And she's saying, why were you not in my corner? I said, I don't want to deal with Marsha. And you hear her literally say that you're scared of Marsha. He says, no, I just don't want to deal with her. And I don't need you. I never said we were a tag team, but I'm going to go and find one. And that leads into the Influence due to the fact at this moment now that Madison Rayne may not be able to wrestle due to the broken nose. You're going to currently have Gazelle Shaw that looks like she wants to join a Influence because she is a quintessential. She's a beautiful Filipino. She's gorgeous. Great set of boobs. But now you're going to have her try to join the Influence and try to do something to either Taya Valkyrie or Rosemary to get the opportunity to join the Influence so she could probably work with Tennille Dashwood so both of them can try and go after the titles. Really? This shows you how short they are on women and they need to bring in more jobbers. I don't believe Gazelle Shaw can beat a Rosemary or Taya Valkyrie. Why would I believe it? I've barely seen her beat anybody other than Lady Frost or get beaten by Lady Frost or Deonna Purrazzo. Why would I believe it? This is where they need to have more female jobbers. They need more women not to be signed again. Forget about signing, guys. I know you're going to say they need to bring in more women. No, they need to hire more people for tapings. That means they bring in people and pay them for tapings only. That's the problem Impact has. They got a budget, but they don't want to spend any money. They're being tightwads because what they need are jobbers. They need jobbers for the women's division. They need jobbers for the tag division. They need jobs for the knockouts tag division. They need about to repeat myself, knockouts. They need men for the world title picture, and they need men for the X division. Instead of using the same old people over and over again, bring in people for tapings to job to your X division guys so you feel like your roster is more fuller than it is. Perception is reality, guys. As I keep saying, perception is reality. People will believe there are more people on the roster if you bring in more jobbers to pay them for tapings. They don't want to do it. They don't want to bring in more jobbers for tapings. They don't want to bring in more talent from the indies to tape so they can job. You can have 2 guys there that would job to multiple guys. You can have 3 women job to multiple knockouts or tag or whatever. You could do a mix-up. Bring in 6 men or 3 men, 3 women, and let them do almost 3 tapings and do multiple matches. The roster will feel more full, and they're not doing it. If anyone's saying I'm being negative, guess what, motherfucker? I'm actually giving you information what can make it better. Finally, 6-man tag, where this is where I'm like, what Honor No More is going to get after this, when it came to the Briscoes and it came to Storm dealing with OGK and Eddie. Later, again, we're getting another 10-man tag. Today we get a 6-man tag. Now, I'm not talking about the match quality. It was fine. Honor No More won. Fine. But here's the problem. We see Honor No More most of the time do 6-man tag, 10-man tags. Yes, we do Kenny once in a while in the X Division. Why don't we have Eddie go in the X Division? What's wrong with getting a title for the X Division? Tell me. Why hasn't Eddie tried to get the world title? Why didn't they try and set that up against Eric Young? Tell me, what is the purpose of Honor No More but to just be there as a faction that's not doing anything? They're not like Aces and Eights. They're not like the Latin American Express. They're not like the Mafia. You know what I mean? What do you have? They're not the Beatdown Clan. They're not the Main Event Mafia. They're not LAX. They're not Aces and Eights. They're not anything. They're just there. They're not trying to get any of the titles. They're just causing havoc. And most of the time, they don't succeed. They got no titles. How can a faction not try to get a title by this point? Why wouldn't they let Eddie Edwards get the X Division title? As much as I want to see Speedball and Mike Bailey keep the title, why not do something? Make Honor No More feel important. I don't feel anything. This comes back to creative. So was this a bad... This is just like the Raw after a major pay-per-view. Same thing. It is important for the tone going forward. And the tone here is not that great. Now, mind you, I didn't hate absolutely everything that went on. But it's like the way they booked everything was really convoluted. And they need more. Just like I said in my Slammiversary review. A good show, or great show, I can't remember which one. Good or great show. But what if? What if they did this? What if they did that? What if they done this? They needed more. And this show needed more. They probably needed more jobbers. That means they needed more people for tapings. They need to actually book people in different locations. Get Eddie to go after the X Division title. And at least he'll have a title around his waist that makes him more legitimate. OGK should have already had the tag titles already, and they won't do it. Who has them right now? The Good Brothers. Why not OGK have the titles? Why not Vincent or PCO have the titles? Hell, have PCO go after either the world title or go after the X Division. Something. I'm just saying. And I hope you enjoyed the same view. Please give me a comment below. This will probably be uploaded immediately. There will be no intro, no images, anything. Peace.